Good morning. I'm Gianni the Greek, coming to you live straight from Las Vegas. It's Friday, July the 5th. What a nice night yesterday. I went out on the strip. First time in a while that I actually went down on the strip for 4th of July. Great time, man. Just people watching, driving slowly up the strip, checking out the fireworks with my girl. We had a really good time. And now it's back to the grind. We got a huge weekend ahead. Cheer in that France future. Cheer in that France future. We also got a total bet in the soccer with France and Portugal. A ton of Wimbledon action. A ton of Major League Baseball action. We've been slow, but that done changed. And like I said, July's been our best month historically. It just springboards us in the football. And I think it's because it's the lull where bettors are taking off, even odds makers and bookmakers. And we're there banging away each and every day, finding those inefficiencies. So with a big July, we should be ready for football season. Now, I'm going to have to be quick today because, again, I'm getting this out a little bit later than usual. I've got more action than you could imagine to share, and I want to get that to you. Now, let me see what is coming in. Now, we picked up a little bit yesterday. I think we went one game over 500. You add in big, probably broke even, came up a little bit. But like I said, we got a lot of plays in the chamber. Nothing's changed as far as long-term results go. We're still over the last 365 days. Let's just, I want to make sure the numbers are correct. So we're going to check in. Yes, exactly where we were just a couple of days ago as far as units and ROI goes. It's hard for that to change. When you have a sample size of 33, 34, 3,500 bets, you're going to need a couple hundred to really affect it. And that's the beauty of betting for the long term. Once you get out ahead, you stay out ahead. Even if you have a down month, a down year. If you've booked 5, 6, 7, 8 straight winning years and you have a down year, you're still way ahead. That's the key. And that's should be the goal for everybody if you're doing this for profit. Now, like I said, I have so much information to share today that I'm not going to take the time I usually do to talk risk management. You can go back to listen to any one of the beginning of these vids, and I have broken it down, how I bet size correctly, how you can determine your own risk of ruin, meaning how many times you double your bank compared to losing your bank once you truly have an edge, and how we've been able to turn a profit 8 of the last 9 years and overcome losing days, weeks, and months. The blueprint's there. I've gone over it many times. And if you're part of the Steam room, we will be meeting tomorrow, Saturday. We got a lot to get to. That's why I did it for 1 p.m. Eastern. I wanted it while games were going on so we could be trading live. And also want to really make sure our minds are focused, laser focused, and tunnel vision aimed towards December 31st, 2024. That's the goal. And we've got about 6 full months to get that done. And I'm really excited for what's ahead. So without further delay, because I believe there's a lot of comments and questions today. Let's just dive right in. Here's what I'm going to do. I got a bunch of tennis action to share. I'm just going to give it all to you, I think, and you guys decide what you want to do with it. Okay, you ready? This is all Wimbledon. Men's side is ATP, women's side is WTA, okay? We got a 2% play. Lorenzo Musetti, minus 5.5 games, minus 130, versus Francisco Comesana. And we also took him at minus 525 money line. That's correct for 2%. So as you can see, the betting syndicates are not afraid to lay 300, 400, 500, minus 800 when they think the true implied win probably should be a lot higher. That's the key to finding value. Not about, is it plus? Is it a low line? No. Is it a difference between the true implied win probability and the book's implied win probability? That's it. If I conclude it should be minus 750 and they have minus 500, I lay the 750. I mean, I laid the 500. Excuse me. They won't have my 750 if they had the 500 up there. So you get it. That's where value comes in. We also have Emil Ruusuvuori. Can't get that name right. Just look for Ruusuvuori. We got him at plus 105 over Giovanni Moteshi at 3% plays as well. 0.75. You know that. We don't go 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% because we don't want our risk of ruin to be upwards of 90%, where we know we're going to lose our bankroll 90+% at a time and only double it less than 10% at a time. We want to be on the opposite end of that spectrum where we double it 9 out of 10 times. All right. Now we also have Novak Djokovic on the games. We're laying 5.5, minus 5.5, minus 115, also 3% play. And then in women's side, WTA, Yelena Ostapenko, minus 375, 2% play, also minus 4.5 games, minus 120, 2% play. And then finally, WTA, again, the women's, Barbara Krejcikova, Krejcikova. We're also taking Krejcikova, minus 230 versus J. Busas Monero. See, my subscribers don't mind me sharing these because I've given these out throughout this morning. We've been firing for the last 3-4 hours. And most of this has just been kept coming in. Tommy Paul, Wimbledon, that won yesterday. Wow, I have so much baseball action today. Wow. Okay, let's go over real fast. Again, the tennis. Wimbledon. Lorenzo Musetti, minus 525, 2%. Lorenzo Musetti, minus 5.5 games, minus 130, 2%. Emil Ruusuvuori, plus 105, 3%. Taylor Fritz, minus 425, 3%. Djokovic, minus 5.5 games, minus 115, 3%. Yelena Ostapenko, minus 375, 2%. Minus 4.5 games, minus 120, 2%. And finally, Barbara Krejcikova, minus 230, 3%. So I just gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 premium plays. 8 premium plays in tennis. Follow, fade, or ignore. Again, I'm on your side. I hope you cash them, not trash them. I'm trying to give you the gold. Trying to give you that plus EV information. Now, if the lines move significantly since I released and my subscribers got down, you got to determine just how far you want to go out on the risk curve and how much is the change in implied win probability. And you may say, you know what, I'm going to pass on this because I only take the best bets, the best numbers. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all. Let's give you some baseball too, because I'm in that given mood. We hit a 5% play on Saturday in the UFC. We just hit a 5% play 2 days ago in baseball that I upgraded. I don't have time to promote these, but when it's warranted, I'm firing. And I'm telling you now, I see it in baseball. These next few weeks, we will be firing. So prepare for this weekend. All right, let me get you some baseball action. I gave out, I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're probably over 15 baseball bets. You want volume. When you got an edge, you want volume. If you're not over betting your edge, if you're managing risk correctly, that's how you double your bankroll, triple your bankroll, quadruple your bankroll with volume. You don't do it by increasing your bet size because that increases your risk of ruin. And we don't want to go to a higher risk of ruin. We want a 20% risk of ruin where we will double our bank 8 out of 10 times, lose it 2 out of 10 times. In fact, I urge bettors to go even higher with a lower risk of ruin, a higher success rate. Go to a 90% double and a 10% risk of ruin. That's what you want. And if you're bet sizing correctly, you want volume. You're saying, Ace, 15, give me 30 bets. I want 30 bets. Because the faster I get that capital into play, the faster I see that ROI. That's why we do this. All right, let's go. All right. Game 962. Yankees, Red Sox. Oh, we're going under here for sure. We went under 8.5, under 8, and under 4.5 in the first 5. So we bet that side 2 different times at 8.5 and 8, and then under 4.5 as well. I gave it to subscribers, 3% play on the under for the game, 3% for the under in the first 5. I'm going to give you one more of those. How's that? That way you got 4 baseball as well, where we hit it both 2 different ways. And it's another total. Arizona, San Diego, 958. Under 8.5 and under 5. Under 8.5, under 5, under 4.5 also. So we went under 5 and then came back and went under 4.5 at even money or plus. So we're going to go under Boston Yankees, game first 5, under Arizona, San Diego, game first 5. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 premiums that subscribers got only, plus WNBA, plus Euro. We are in action, baby. Woo! Can you feel it? Ace is feeling it. It's July, baby. It's July. Oh, where did we say Bitcoin's going? Where did we say it's going? Do you see these lines? Tells you everything you need. Everything you need is in the lines. I don't know if you guys see that. Probably not because of the light. It retraced right back to the Fibonacci line. Once it broke that upsloping trend line, it followed straight to the Fibonacci, retraced all the way down. To what fib did it get to? Are we at the 0.50 yet? We got to get down to the 0.618. We get down to the 0.618 at 40,000. That's when we start unloading at 40,000. Right now, it's a 56.5. It's coming back up. Let's not forget, it got down to 53,000. Got down to 53.5. Now it's coming back up. It's coming back up. I still don't think it's a buy at this. I don't think it's a buy because I'm looking to buy. I'm looking to buy. You guys know I've shorted Bitcoin. I made a big short when it got to 69, 70,000. I started shorting from 60 and kept shorting. So I got about 40, 50 dimes short on Bitcoin. So I made good money the last 2 days with it dropping, but I'm not getting out of my short. I think it's got more drops to go. I think this is buying the dip, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep buying it as more dump. We break 50, it's going to 40. So it's round numbers, but got to break 50 first. I'm seeing support, so I don't really fault anyone that went long at 53.5 because there was some support around that 56. So yeah, we are good. We are good there. Great watching this stock market. Oof. Doing exactly what we wanted it to do. I actually bought a couple altcoins last night. Yeah. We yesterday morning, excuse me. Once Bitcoin dumped, again, nothing goes up or down in a straight line. So even though I have a big short against Bitcoin and Bitcoin pulls the whole market, so actually buying some alts seems counterproductive because if Bitcoin keeps going down, I make money. But if I'm buying these alts to go up, that's going to be hard to happen, but that's exactly what's happening. And so I got my bounce on the alts. The bad thing is I needed to get up a little earlier today because when it was around that 54,000, I could have dollar cost averaged more and had some more alts, but we're not getting out of those yet. We're going to let them keep climbing, baby. Keep climbing. All right, let's get to the questions. My man. Mark Satharis. Jesus, another Wimbledon. Ludmila Samsonova. WTA. We're doing that live, baby. Minus 115. All right, they're hitting it again. I'm going to give it out to my subscribers so they know they could bet it. I'll give these out at, give it out at minus 120, 120. You could go. Boom. Let me confirm that. All right. Let's get these questions going. Is the no run first inning, yes run first inning market sharp at all? I remember you mentioned some pros will use it to get more down when there's low limits. Does anything else go into handicapping besides having a play already on the over-under? Yeah. The guys that I've worked with, that's the only time I've ever seen them use it, when they already have a play on the total. Like, I've never seen the group come in first on the no run first inning, yes run first inning without having anything on the total. Even the group I work with that just hits props and they bet some baseball props, they usually always come in. They individually just bet props, not sides or totals. They'll come in on a prop, but it'll always be a prop that got steam on that kind of side. So yeah, great question. All right, my man, Justin Schuneman, my man. So much gold. My pleasure's all mine, brother. Quick question about risk and units. We talk about bet sizing and ROR, which I fully understand. But if our average bet size is 3% plus VIG, we really only have 120, 130 units in our bankroll, not 400, because we don't bet 1% plays rarely ever. Can we touch on this and go over our risk profile with 120 unit bankroll? Obviously, resizing 50% prevents ruin, along with, but I would have to think 120 units would only be a higher than 20% ROR. Well, it depends on what your average VIG is, because remember, you're talking about 3% with the VIG, but there's also plus money, dogs. Like today, when I look, I got a plus 105, plus 115, plus 117, plus 120, plus 141, plus 161, plus 129, plus even money. Those offset the VIG on the minus. So like I said, I do it my way. What everyone's risk tolerance differs. Over the last 9 years, had anyone done it with a 20% risk of ruin, they would have never lost their bankroll. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Even that year that I had a losing year, we didn't lose the bankroll. So that's why I stick to what works with me. Again, if you're more comfortable, you could go like a 0.5% on everything. Just go straight across the board and sleep more comfortably. This is where I sleep comfortable. And like I said, I didn't just start this year. And most of the guys that I consider partners that come into the steam room, they've been with me for a number of years. So they don't forget that we turned a profit in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Like all that profit's still there. So they don't, even if the average line was minus 150, so we do only have 100 units, not 400, they have 6-7 bankrolls behind it. Now, I get it. A guy just starts today. He doesn't. But I can't control when someone wants to join me or how long they're going to stay or if they follow risk. What I'm urging them to do is start today so that 6 months from now, a year from now, you start to develop that big sample size and those guys do become you. Otherwise, again, you're just up against it. And that's exactly what's happening. If you're just going to keep trying the time and not go long term, that is the units you're working with. But again, I don't adjust unless I'm down 50% or up 50%. And so far, so good. Like we've had to adjust, I think, a few years, but never had to replenish. So my advice, Justin, is do what's best in what makes you sleep most comfortably and what you're good with the risk of ruin. based on when you started and whether you have a cushion or not, whether you have some profit under you or some losses under you. Everybody starts different. Everyone's in a different position. The only thing I can do is show exactly what I've done and what I've urged any subscriber that's been with me since day one and every subscriber that's been with me since the first of each year. Now, the guys that jump in and out, they're going to have to start their year when they start their year and follow through. And then next January, we start all together for the new year. But, you know, that's part of getting plays under you, of having volume under you. And fortunately, like I said, I've been at Wager Talk since 2017. I'm number one in profit since 2017. So I have all that profit. It doesn't just disappear. It doesn't like evaporate. So if anything, we're working with a freaking 1% risk of ruin. If they're actually didn't waste that money, then that's backup bankrolls, backup bankrolls, backup bankrolls. That's what I want for my guys. And then to get to a position like I did, where you have only one backup bankroll and you could start investing your capital in other stuff, commodities, precious metals, real estate, art, and have other sources of income off the money you made in this generous market. See that? I have a plan for my guys in the Steam room. It's not a 1 day, 1 week, 1 month plan. Not even a 1 year plan. It's a multi-year plan. And as long as they follow through and with the blueprint, it's going to work out exactly as advertised. All right, Jeffrey Moore. Not enough good things to say. Thank you. Thank you, sir. What are your thoughts on silver? I've collected it since I was a kid. Room for growth? How much? Yes. Silver's breaking out. Here's the problem. It's a manipulated market, so they keep it down. But silver's one of those metals that we actually use a lot more than gold. Like gold's mostly decorative. You know, people like gold jewelry. And then there's a couple things we use it for. That's why it's on the periodic table of elements. Silver, on the other hand, we use as an industrial metal. Silver's used in a lot of things, but it's also manipulated. Silver, people manipulated. Long term, it's a buy. It's a buy. You're doing the right thing, sir. I promise you. Long term, you are doing the right thing. As I look at silver right now, because I keep it up. Silver's up right now on my chart. It's 28.56 right now. I think we're going to see some resistance at 29.25. Remember that. 29.20, it's going to come back. It's going right now to go up to 29.20 before it bounces back. But I think eventually it's going to break that 29.56 high. 29.80. Yeah, about 29.80, 28.85. It's going to break 30. It'll break 30 for sure. Once things hit the fan, yeah. So from here, you're looking at another 5% easily, another 5%. But what I think is going to happen is I think it's going to hit a new high, roll over, retrace, give us another opportunity to buy some more, and then take off, commodities. But in case I'm wrong, every drawback, I buy a little bit, every pullback, because gold, silver, it's long term. The only thing I care about is 10 years from now, what it's worth, more than about today. Not 2 years from now, not 3 years from now. I'm looking past 2030. Will it be worth more past 2030? I believe so. So whether I buy it at 2,200 an ounce, 2,300 an ounce, or 2,500 an ounce, that 5-10%, I don't think is going to make a big difference once the dollar really does what the inevitable is. And we all know that. I don't even want to put it out there, but me saying it ain't going to stop it from happening. Marco Spagnuolo 122 Ace, great daily content. Thank you. One suggestion, can't Wager Talk pull your results from when you started and can post it in the opening of this show. Result 2019, 2020, 2020. This would assist in you not having to repeat it. Yeah, I keep repeating it. Go. Yeah. Listen, I can't tell people how they do it. Here's the problem. You got to remember, they do what's in the best interest of every capper. Okay. They give me a lot of leeway because I've been with Gianni for so long that we're friends besides anything else, way before Wager Talk. Okay. But the truth is they have a business also and a business model. Okay. And we all know in this industry, no matter what we say, oh, we don't want games of the year. We only want sharp stuff and we only want plus EV stuff. That's bullshit because I see what sells. I've been in it for 15 years. I could put game of the year and it's going to sell 10x more than if I put just same 4 or 5%. I could just write game of the month and it's going to sell so much more. That's the industry, bro. And unfortunately, if we show this in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, what the other cappers going to show? What are they going to be able to promote? What's everyone else going to promote? And more importantly, how great does it look to the average recreational bettor, to the new novice? They're going to look and be like, wait, 3,000 bets I got to place every year to make this. Again, that's the problem. That's why I'm doing Bet with Ace, so I can aim it towards the 0.5%. But unfortunately, the 99.5% still rules the industry. So you have to cater to them, or else there is no wager talk. There's no content. Ace isn't doing content. Nobody's doing content. So you got to balance both. You got to give these guys some leeway, and you can't have it both ways. Like, they're not going to be able to produce a bunch of free content and at the same time not sell picks. And if you're going to put up every year and it doesn't look like marketable, even though it's in the 0.5%, you just don't. This is me being as blatantly honest as possible, because I've watched it with my own eyes, where I've been up like 30 units, 40 units, and a guy who's lost 5 straight years is down for that year and is now on a 1-month hot streak, and he's outselling everybody on the site. Everyone. Dude, that's the business. So what are we going to do? Again, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't need this. Fortunately, I don't need to sell picks to maintain my lifestyle, but there's a lot of money in it, and I enjoy doing it. And I've changed lives. I know that I've impacted people and influenced people and inspired people. So I love doing it. But I'm doing it to make money. I'm not doing it to waste my time. There's a million other things I could be doing. A lot of things I could be doing. So if we're doing it, we're doing it to make money. And unfortunately, it's the 99.5% that spends the money. And what do? They buy on emotion. So I wish it was a world where you could just put the truth out there. Everyone is forced to put the truth. And I know my results are going to be at the 0.0000001% of pick sellers. 0.000000001% of all pick sellers on the planet. That much I know. I know the industry that well. And yet, to the recreational bettor, it's still not going to be as sexy as the guy who went 18-4 last year on Monday night games, or an NFL 5%. Unfortunately, my 5 straight years of winning isn't going to sell as much as the guy who's 18-4 on 5% in NFL. So again, that's just keeping it real. And for Wager Talk to have all these free stuff, you got to be able to maintain a business. All right. Hey, Ace, do you bet horses? My dad likes to, but I feel like it's impossible to get ahead. Yeah, I love the horses. In fact, me and my girl, I'm trying to get her to go. We go to Del Mar for opening day. I love the races. Sit there all day, bet money, lose money. I may get lucky. The hold's too high. It's pari-mutuel, which means as I bet at this track and you're at OTB and you're betting off track, the odds are changing based on the money that's going into the pool. Unfortunately, when that's the case, the hold's going to be really high. And we're looking at upwards of 30, 40%. You just can't beat it without inside information. So unless you're a trainer that's in the mix, an owner that's in the mix, a jockey that's in the mix, it's an unbeatable game. I know there's a couple guys in the world that do beat it, created some algorithms, found some edges. There are less than 2 or 3 of them that I know, but they became like big money, big money, where they've hit tracks around the world. But that's different level shit. Yeah, I don't. Sorry, I get it, dirty reg. I'm not going to read the whole thing about the handicap with the. Please don't take the wrong way. But you tell me you're 4-0 on Wooderson fights and now 5-0. Again, if you're as sharp as you say, you know that sample size means 0. You could have said 0-5, and the next, you know that. Then the next pick is just the same. So like that sample size was irrelevant. But the one thing I will touch on is the one thing you said is I do have to understand more that you're betting numbers. So when you might think really win or lose sometimes, but I'm a believer if you can give a plus $1 million on a crap pick and it don't cash for you, you still end up with 0. Yeah. If you're only betting today, one bet, that matters. But if you're betting tomorrow, next week, next month, then you're wrong, Reg. You're just wrong. Because that flip of a coin, if I'm going to give you 1,000 to 1, you can't conclude it's a bad bet because you lost. The math tells us it's 50-50. You're basing it on the result, not on what the probability is. The probability is 50-50. We all know that. It can't be argued. 50% heads, 50% tails. So it should be an even money bet. If I'm giving you even 2 to 1, you have to take that bet. If you lose, if you can't, if anyone could conclude it was a bad bet and it was actually a real quarter, then we can't have this argument. Because again, unless you're just making that one flip and never flipping again, then you're right. The number don't matter. Just pick the result. But Reg, if you're betting again tomorrow, the next day, the week after, then the number is everything. Then that's all that matters is making sure I find that coin flip that's giving me 2 to 1. Because picking that one today isn't going to mean shit. I have to do it over and over and over again. Because if I stop, that's the only time it doesn't matter. But if I'm going to keep picking, then that's the goal, to beat the market. So that's where the argument, again, if you were never betting again and you were only betting Saturday and you faded Wooderson, great bet. It doesn't matter what the line did. There's no argument there. But if you're betting for profit and you're an advantage player, then your goal is to get CLV. That's the only one of the few ways that you can, with certainty, tell the exact edge you had. The exact edge over the house. Few times can you have that. But with CLV, you can determine that to the penny. This is my edge over the book. This is what I had before the game started. And that's all we can do. Again, you're basing it all on the result. All of it on the result. And very little of it on before it happens. And again, after it happens, sure. It's you're right or you're wrong. But it's before that we know, before they walked into the cage. Wooderson plus 190 was plus EV. There's no doubt about it. Wooderson plus 180 is plus EV. There's no argument. Wooderson plus 170 is plus EV. Zero argument. Just because it's compared to the closing line. That's not my opinion. Please understand that. Again, it could be the worst pick in the history of picks, but it's still plus EV. You cannot argue that because it beat the closing line. And we know again, just like we know a coin flip, we know a heads is 50%, tails is 50%. So if I give you 2 to 1, we know before the flip, you're plus EV. Give me the argument why you're not. If the quarter isn't fixed, there's zero argument. You're plus EV. After we flip it, though, I could have won. I could win the next 15 in a row. You're still plus EV every time we flip it. Every one was a good bet. That's what I'm trying to get at. If we only flip it once, then it doesn't matter. But if you're going to be betting against again and again and again, then it does matter. That's why guys like myself, guys that do it like this, are able to show 9 years of results, 5 years of results, last 3 years of results, and show profit, not last 50 bets or promote only the last 10. I swear, Ray, I'm telling you this from the heart, because if you seem like a sharp guy. So like you need to get past that and not stress the result as much as make sure you get a good bet in. You got a good bet in. You keep doing that after 1,000 bets, you'll know if you were right during those times. Does it produce profit? You'll know you were right more than wrong. You can't know about which ones you were right every time or wrong every time, but you'll know. As far as finding plus EV spots, you're the master because the numbers won't lie at the end. But individual bets, they're going to lie all the time. That's the randomness of a small sample size. It's random. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It doesn't follow any laws, unlike the laws of big numbers. That's it. That's all I'm trying to explain. All right. Chris Lawrence, Ace, question. Why get in front of the hot streak? If the Mets are crushing every night, why bet against them? I mean, the line isn't that far out of the normal, so why get in front of such a hot streak? Shouldn't those kind of bets just be lay off? Also, an NFL company get in front of hot streaks. Also, listen, I talked about hot streaks all the time. Like, you want to ride them because you can cash multiple tickets. If you bet against them, you can only cash one. That's obvious. I don't really look at like streaks until they're defying probability. And winning 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row isn't defying probability. Am I more cautious getting ahead of that? Absolutely. But if I'm not fading streaks, like when we were betting Washington plus 1.5, it's because they kept shading the number more and more towards the Mets bias. I wish they weren't doing it. I wouldn't have had to make those bets, but they just kept doing it. So I have to play some and not worry about the streak that the Mets are on. And again, just because, it's different. You see a football team in 16-game season, 10-0, 10-0 ATS, and you're obviously going to be afraid to fade them or even bet them if you haven't been riding the streak, right? But personally, I try to get that out of my head and look at it as individual games. Like if this is worth a fade, it's worth a fade. If this is worth a bet, it's worth a bet. And of course, in your mind, you're thinking of the streak and you're remembering that if you bet against it, you can only cash one. But if that's your only reasoning is fading the streak, then again, you shouldn't be making the bet. So great point. Great point. Can't wait for the NFL. Yeah, I don't really look for NFL streaks because the season's so small. By the time you find one, it's either the streak is ended or the season's ended. So I'm not really looking to jump on and off streaks. With NFL, it's just a money sport. We look for the same things every single year. Same with college football, even better. So I just can't wait. You see the excitement we talked about. I'm just so excited. Love you guys. Back tomorrow. Hope we cash some tickets tonight.